Thank you, Las Cairla, and thanks to Sinn Féin for tabling this motion for debate here today. Minister, I believe it's a very important motion and it allows us the time to examine the government's recruitment freeze in more detail. And perhaps the government will see and set out a logic, detailed and coherent argument for its introduction, and if not, will agree to its removal. The HSE is bloated. It's costing the taxpayer too much via waste, and the system is failing to deal with the major problems of waiting lists across the various health departments. Comparing the budget allocations for the Department of Health between 2016 and 2023, we see an increase in spending of almost 70%, from 13.6 billion in 2016 to over 23 billion in 2023. This is a colossal increase. An increase of 10 billion in the space of 7 years is simply eye-watering. Yet, despite all this money being thrown at the organisation, what do we have to show for it? We have waiting lists getting longer, a crisis in virtually all sectors within the health sector as well as the GP sector. The health service has not been underfunded. It is more than adequately funded, but the funding is clearly not being used to achieve the best outcomes. We're told that a recruitment freeze, which has now been extended to almost all areas of the HSE, is required to address the problem. But I have major concerns about the knock-on impact it will have on the functioning of our health service. I do not understand why it has been introduced, and I do not understand why the government have not explained the rationale for it more clearly. The key question is, what in reality will a recruitment freeze lead to? In what way does it address the problems of waiting lists and people left in limbo for years awaiting medical treatment? I'm regularly bringing up health-related issues with service provision. People left waiting for treatment and funded services being unable to operate. Between contributions in this chamber and in the Public Accounts Committee, I've brought up CAMS-related matters about 50 times. On almost every one of these occasions, the crux of the issues raised could all link back to one word: staffing. The vast majority of the time, the reason is a lack of staff in CAMS, a lack of staff in disability services, in care settings, and virtually every other setting. Big capital investment projects in recent years have been shambolic. We still don't have a National Children's Hospital operational, despite construction starting 7 years ago. 7 years ago. When it is eventually completed, it's on course to be nearly 3 times more expensive per bed than the next most expensive hospital ever built in the history of mankind. How many people have been or will be held to account for this failure or removed from their positions? In recent days, there has been an announcement in the North for 8 new MRI scanners in Belfast. Meanwhile, Wexford General Hospital is waiting 5 years for 1. And when we see a health budget of 23 billion, you'd have to wonder why the people of Wexford had to fundraise 250,000 euros towards the cost of an MRI scanner, which years later is still not in place. Additionally, there is no start yet to the new 97-bed unit in Wexford General Hospital. Planning applications are going in shortly, and phase 1, the building of a car park, will begin first. But very scant information on when the actual bed unit will begin, or more importantly, be completed. Minister, I don't believe the recruitment freeze has been justified, nor do I believe it will help address the major problems that exist within our health service. There is no use in increasing every year the health spending if all it means is that the amount of waste is increased. And today I had a very disheartening email from a young man who is suffering with seizures and believes he's quite ill and is unable to attain an appointment with a neurologist anywhere in the country. And at the same time, we're talking about a health freeze on recruitment. So, Minister, I'd ask that you consider this motion and consider the reversal of the freeze. Thank you.